Good morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
Me and my friends are having a great time. It's not face to face, it's all online. We're all in our homes, miles away. Love them like my family, what can I say? My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. Don't call or text me, it's about to begin. I've been patient, time for me to chime in. Comfy clothes on, feeling just fine. I'm busy right now, it's crafting show time. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. The host came on, they are truly a gem. Here for the show and to chat with my friends. Chat with each other about this and that. We share ideas, wisdom, and other fun facts. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips, and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you'll never...
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Let's have a good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. Thank you all for tuning in on this Labor Day, and it is the 1st of September. So we are really in the fall now, and we are really getting started to get into that tail end. And lots of projects that need to be done. So thank you all for tuning in, and we're going to have a great time this hour. Let's see who we have out there. See a lot of people chatting away in the chat. I see people from Maryland. We've got from, let's see, Florida. We've got North Central Texas. All right, thank you for joining. Hi, Marlene, Hope, Cindy, Lady Bear from Louisiana. Of course, we've got our friends from Canada, and I see Roz from Australia. Good morning. Let's see here. We've got all kinds of people from just everywhere. It's amazing. San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Jenny. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. All righty. Well, today is Labor Day, and it is a holiday, so I wasn't too sure if everyone was going to be able to join me today, but I see a whole bunch of people on the chat and logging in, and good morning to you. So today it's going to be a little bit light. Mr. H is not feeling too well. Not sure if we just caught a bug or something, but He's a trooper, so he's in the back end helping me out with all of the technical stuff that goes on in the background. So nice thank you to Mr. H for being a trooper and just hanging in there and you know, just sticking it out with us. I've been pretty busy taking care of my mom, so I'll give you guys a little bit of a mom update. And you know, she's doing much better. She's home now, and she is actually, yesterday was probably the best day that I've seen her. Her wheezing has kind of stopped. So she's doing much, much better. She looked great yesterday. We had a great day. Just kind of hung out in the house, nothing special. A lot of talking, a lot of cooking. She was just in the mood to whip up a ton of stuff. So we did cook up a storm yesterday. So we did a lot of that and just, you know, kind of just hanging out and spending some mom time. So that was a lot of fun. It is still a little bit stormy out. So, you know, we don't want to venture out too much. It was just kind of, you know, it's thundering, but then it doesn't rain, or then it rains. And so we want to keep her away from all of that. So we just kind of stayed inside and did some stuff there. And then I've just been kind of going back and forth. So, you know, pretty much spend the entire weekend with my mom and making sure that she's good and she's got all her meds and everything that she needs to take. So thank you all for all your prayers and everything. It was really appreciated. I let my mom know about all of that, and she wants to send a very big thank you. It was really, really sweet of you guys, and she is much better. So I'm super, super happy today that, you know, she's doing better. And now today, I'm not going to go over there because her neighbor who lives behind her is going to try to just kind of take her out. So today's supposed to be a better day, not so stormy or anything. So she's going to try to just venture out for a couple of hours, and she's going to take her, you know, to do her favorite thing, which is, of course, shopping. So she'll just take her around, pick up a couple of things, and then come back. So she wants to spend some time with her. So that's really sweet of her, and known her for a really long time. Since my mom moved in, they actually both moved in on the same day. And my parents were the godparents for her son. So she's super, super sweet, and she takes good care of my mom too. So I'm really appreciative of that. So very, very nice. Yes, virtual hug. Yes, thank you. Really, really neat. And thank you guys all for all your thoughts and prayers on that. I really appreciated that. So, all right. So let's see. We've got some more people joining in here, and I probably missed a whole bunch of you, but we've got South Carolina, Kathleen. Good morning to you. We've got Sandy, Barbara, Robin, Jenny, Marge, Becky. Good morning. Good morning. Not sure. Hope. Who else did I maybe miss? I maybe missed a couple of, if I did, sorry. Good morning, Jackie. Yeah, so it's, you know, lots of things going on. Just kind of, you know, trying to keep up with everything. But I think mom's in a good situation now. We've got the work week coming up, so we'll be back at work. It's a really busy week for me on the first week, so I get pretty slammed. So I'm glad she's doing much, much better. So in terms of stitching, you know, we've got some stitching in and some that we didn't. But, you know, before we get into the weeds on everything that I've got, because I got kind of a mess here. It's like there's so many things going on here. But before we do all of that, let's just have our little toast. Because, yeah, it's Labor Day, and we're going to kind of take it easy today. It's going to be a kind of a relaxed session here. But, you know, it's a holiday, so we want to just, you know, relax and just have some fun. That's all. So go ahead and raise your glasses. If you don't have a glass, I'll pour you a cup. Just go ahead and raise a glass of whatever it is that you have this morning. Water, tea, soda, coffee. It doesn't matter. You know, we don't judge. Anything that you have in the morning to get yourself going, go ahead and raise your glass. Raise your glass. And Mr. H is having a coffee episode over there. He's gonna be okay. You can raise your glass too. Okay, raise your glass and then go ahead and give it a toast for today. Your cappuccino's ready? Awesome. Hey, hey Jenny, the crafty Puerto Rican. Good morning to you too. All righty. So, okay, you're all good there?
I'm alive.
He's alive, yeah. He's doing a lot of coughing today, so I don't know if I want to get too near him. We'll probably keep this a short one today. All right, but he's a trooper. He's helping us out here. So, okay, so we've got our toast. Let's just run over to our food truck and grab a couple snacks. Is that okay with you? Because, you know, you might be a little bit hungry this morning. So let's roll out the food truck and let's see what we have here. Jenny already has her cappuccino. You know, I'm just going to grab a bagel. You know, I think maybe a bagel and some cream cheese will do me some good this morning, and that's going to be just fine. Good morning, Deb from Wyoming. Thank you for joining. There's all kinds of stuff on the food truck, guys, and don't worry, we can do some home delivery for those that don't feel well. So we do have that. Now, he does have himself some coffee over there, so I think it just went down the wrong way. Okay, good morning, Joyce. Alrighty, so now that we've got our snacks and we've got our virtual drinks that got delivered to us, I think we're ready to go. If hopefully you're in your cozy spot and you're able to watch. So let's go ahead and get started. I did want to show you something that I did finish. I am in the middle of finishing up the Spooky and Sweet. So for the Spooky and Sweet, it's the wall hanging or the door banner, whatever it is that you're doing. I decided to do the wall hanging. So have a little bit of a mess here because I am on week 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do the little Dracula here. I'm hoping to finish that today. I'm doing all of the cutting today, and I'm just going to fly by and do all of the sewing since I don't have to go out to get groceries and I don't have to go out to do anything with my mom, so I can just finally stay in the room and just get something done. So, that's what I'm going to work on. Hopefully I'll be all done with that. I can tell you I did the 3 blocks and I have them off to the side somewhere. Not too happy with the way it came out. I had to kind of use my seam ripper and undo a couple of times, and like I don't know how to say, like, the fabric, not that it's warped, but like I guess from all the unpicking and sewing, because I had to do it a couple of times, it just didn't come out right for me. And now it just doesn't look good. I tried to re-iron it. I'm just not happy with it. And I think I just want to redo that. So before I do that, I want to make sure I have enough fabric for the Dracula piece. So what I'm going to do is, since these 3 blocks are done, I'm going to go ahead and do the Dracula pieces and cut everything out and do that one. And then if I have enough fabric, I'll go back and I want to recut some of these pieces because the edges of the fabric just don't seem very good. I don't know. The fabric is just not, I don't want to say it's not the best. It just didn't, I don't know. I'm not too pleased with how it came out. Cindy, you're still starching for your fabric. Yeah, you know, I think the witch was a lot easier to do. The little quilt blocks are a lot more challenging because there are so many points that you need to line up. And some of them I didn't even notice and didn't pay attention to. So I went back and I had to undo the seam and redo it. And then the design itself, you really need to pay attention to how they need to be positioned, because there were a couple of them where I put the square going the wrong way. And so when I finished it, it was like, oh no, I said a few choice words that only stay in my craft room. And then I had to unpick them and resew them. So these smaller ones are not too bad, but this one here, wow, that one, you know, it's something else. It's really to get you going. So be really careful when you're doing these blocks. I mean, the other thing is I was rushing. I was rushing to get through these because I was rushing to leave to go to my mom's, or I had just gotten back, and then I was rushing because I had to make dinner. So those 3 blocks are not ones that you want to rush through. So I should have just not done them and left them for today, since today I'm hoping, not to be interrupted as much. So that's something you really want to focus on, especially this top one here, because it is really a complex block. And I'll show you like the instructions when it goes through that. Let's see if I can grab that. So if you look at these instructions, there are tons and tons of points on here. So if you look, you've got points that you got to meet everywhere here. And all of these points line up together. So although I was cutting and measuring along the way, as I undid and then resewed, like this fabric kind of like warped on me and it just doesn't look right. I was able to do it, but I just don't like the way it looks. It looks like I had to undo the stitches a couple of times, and I really didn't like that. So that's why I'm now gonna just go ahead. Even though I got them done, I'm just got them onto the side. I'm gonna go ahead and do the Dracula piece, and then see how much fabric. I don't know how generous they were on these fabric kits. So I'm going to do this one, and then I'll see if I have enough to be able to redo at least 1 block from here. So we'll see how that goes. I will let you know on that one. So that's kind of where I am on my journey here. And I am in the middle of cutting these. Now this is our first block that we did, and that one is complete. So that one, I'm not going to undo anything here, though I found a couple mistakes here and there, but I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm going to go ahead and just finish cutting up the rest of the pieces on this board. This is what's required for week 3, which is the little Dracula piece. So I'm going to go ahead and finish those cuts with you guys today. So as I do those, and remember, this is going to be a pretty relaxed day. So as I do those, let me show you what I did with the autumn skies. And I will open that one up because I was able to go ahead and add the borders on that. I still have to like cut some threads and do a little bit of cleanup, but it's pretty much good. If I can get it open. And if you guys can see that, I'll put it up over me. So I think she turned out pretty good. There's a few things that I could have done better, but I was kind of to the point like, okay, I just want to finish this one already. So not too bad here. So the borders, I think, really give it a nice accent all the way around, and I think, it's not that bad. I do need to quilt it and add the backing and some threads that I have here that I need to cut. So, just a little bit of a cleanup that needs to happen here, but it's pretty much done. Yes, very nice. I think this was a pretty nice project. I do have to square it off a little bit, trim it. My edges need to be squared, so I do have to do that, but I don't want to do that until I lay it down flat so that I can do the backing and add the batting to it. So I'll probably quilt it. Not sure how I'm going to quilt it just yet, but we've got this in place. Yes, lovely. I really like it. It's a nice colors. I love the fall colors on this. I think it comes out really, really nice. But, this one was a pretty nice challenge, just getting the cornerstones into the right position with the sashing and, hitting those marks. So that was really nice. And then you have all this scrappy stars that you're doing. and then finally adding the borders on the edge. So this is a nice project to do when you're just looking for something basic. I had a few issues on a couple. I'm trying to find them if I can find them. But for the most part, it wasn't too bad. It was more me just rushing, you know, and that's the bad thing, is when you try to rush through it. The colors look like they cover all seasons. Yeah, and I love the scrappiness of the stars, right? I think that really, you know, speaks fall, and the borders kind of tie the whole thing together. Now, I do have some fabric left over from the project that you could probably make something small. I'm thinking maybe a little pot holder or something like that. And I may just try to do a little star to kind of match the table runner here. So I may try to do that just to tie it all together. I think it would be a nice little gift, you know, with that. But they do leave you enough fabric to be able to make a small little project, not anything too big. So I do like that, because you're able to kind of, you know, make something to go with it. So this is the autumn sky, and I was pretty happy with it. So I'm trying to see if I can fold this up. Here we go. I will fold this up, and I will need to now kind of just work on doing maybe that little pot holder, and then work on the backing, and then getting this all quilted. So that's gonna be this project. So I've already gotten, you know, one Christmas gift out of the way, which was the embroidered Christmas quilt that I did with you guys. I've got my little table runner. I'll maybe add the little pot holder to this. We're getting ready for Halloween with this one. And then, of course, for the Christmas quilt, I have to make multiples of that one. So I'm still in the works with that one. Haven't gotten my embroidery machine working too much, so she's a little lazy back there. I'm gonna have to wake her up and try to put her to work as I work on something else, right? So I may do some of that. And looking forward, something that I thought would be really nice to do, they have another free pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop. It's called Charming Christmas Quilt Pattern. And it looks pretty basic, and I'll put this over to the side so you guys can see. This is a free download that you can do. And the fabric requirements are not too bad. So for this one, you're using, oops, sorry about that. You are using 2 charm packs, or 68 5-inch squares. So you could certainly use something from your stash, or if you have a couple charm packs, you can use that. And then it's gonna require 2.5 yards for the background fabric, 5/8 of a yard for the binding, and then 3 7/8 of a yard for the backing. So really not too bad. First off, you'll have to pick out either the 2 charm packs, or you'll have to pick out 5-inch squares. You'll need 68 of them, and then you'll also need the background, which is again 2.5 inches of that, and that will make this really pretty little Christmas tree with the little border going across. So the finished size is 59 inches by 59 inches. So I thought this would be a pretty neat project. It's kind of beginner friendly. It's got all of the squares going across here. So it's just a simple stitch attaching all of these together. And then on the tree itself, it's got a lot of half square triangles, right? So that for this particular project, the technique, half square triangles, and just lining up your squares and sewing straight. So it shouldn't be too bad. This looks like a pretty beginner friendly project. So I think we're gonna go ahead and tackle this one next. I'm not sure, I'm not gonna go ahead, there's no kit for it, so I'm not gonna purchase anything. I'm gonna try to use some of the fabrics that I have right here in my craft room. So if there's something that you guys have that you can use for this. Maybe a little charm pack, Christmas charm pack that you didn't use from last year or something like that, or maybe something that you want to purchase and use. You can go ahead and do that. I'll put the video description for this. It is a free download from the Fat Quarter Shop, and we'll put the link for you guys after the show. And oh, it's there now. Oh, awesome. Mr. H is on it. He just already put it on there, so it'll be in the video description, so it's already on there. So you can download that. Again, that's a free download, and it's a really cute little project, and I think it's something that is not too heavy and won't take too long. You didn't realize the Fat Quarter Shop had so many free patterns. Yes, Jenny, they do. Always check out the freebies. People kind of bypass that, and they really have some nice ones, especially the Fat Quarter Shop. They really have some really beautiful free patterns that you can make. Let's see. Cindy said, I printed that out the other day when you said you are affiliated with the Fat Quarter Shop. Oh, awesome. That's great, Cindy. Yeah, we just did our affiliation with the Fat Quarter Shop. So we are starting to, you know, just let you guys know. And it's just another way to support our channel. So I really appreciate that. But this one's a freebie, but I'm still going to let you guys know about it, right? So there's lots of freebies out there, and Fat Quarter Shop really has some really nice ones. And another way that you can kind of support them, and you know, you can just go ahead and get the fabric through them. So you can use that and use my affiliate link. That will help support us as well. So yeah, I didn't know that Fat Quarter Shop had so many until I just started sitting down and exploring the sites. And there's actually a lot of sites that have a lot of free patterns. And so I go through them, and I think it's great. Where the white fabric is, what do you think if I used a solid red? You can definitely do that, Cindy. Yes, yes, that's a great idea. Now, if you use that solid red, then you cannot use a red on your tree or on the border, because then it won't stand out, even if it's just a simple design. Like, let's say you have another red and it has a little design on it. If you really want it to pop, you need to make sure that you don't use red throughout the rest of these. But yeah, red, why not? Or green, you can do that also. That would be really neat. You can do it as long as your colors contrast, right? So with your background. So whatever background you want to use, you know, you can do that. Now, if maybe you have a red with polka dots on it, like really small polka dots that kind of would resemble maybe like a little snowstorm. Or there's a fabric that I have, I'm trying to think where, it's like a very light gray and white, and it kind of resembles like a snowfall in the background. That would be something really cool too that you can use back here and just have that snowy background in the back. Yeah, that one might be it. Let me see. Here's one. Let me see if I can show this to you. He's bringing over the bolt to me. This is one. It's similar to this. The one I was thinking has a little bit of a metallic shine to it. But here's one. Here we go. Let's do it this way. A little bit of a gray and white background. Kind of resembles a little bit of a snowy background. Instead of just doing that solid white, you can do this as well. I have another bolt probably on my other shelf that has a little bit of a metallic to it also. So it makes it resemble a little bit of a shine. So that may be another cool one that you can use. And then for the actual tree and the border, you know, I would use a lot of greens. Whoops, that kind of went out of focus. There we go. I would use a lot of greens and a lot of reds to be behind or in front of this background gray. So see how the colors would kind of contrast? That's something you can do. Remember, you don't have to follow the patterns exactly. You can change it up and, you know, have it done with your own fabric and just kind of make it your own. So yeah, Cindy, that would be a perfect way to kind of change things up. If you don't want this white background, you can make this a snowy background or a red and white polka dot. That would be cute too, right? Do the red background with the tiny little polka dots and make it look like little snowflakes, right? You can do that as well, as long as you continue to contrast your colors here on the other side. So that would be really nice. Oh, Barbara says Hobby Lobby has a light gray with pine tree that might work also. Okay, yeah, that would work as well. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many different ones that you can check. I'm not sure if Hobby Lobby's even open today because it is a holiday. Not too sure. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, I think it's really neat that you can kind of change things up. You know, these patterns really give you that freedom to decide, you know, do I want to make it exactly like it is in the picture, or do I want to change it up? And sometimes you're afraid to kind of change it up because you want it to look really nice like the pattern. But when you do change it up, you surprise yourself like, wow, this one looks even better, right? So there's so many different things you can do with that. So it's really nice to be able to do, you know, some of this stuff here. Let's see. Oh, Crafty Puerto Rican has a question. I am deciding on a ScanNCut. Do I get the SX325 to cut applique fabric, or can I get a less expensive one, for example, the Disney one? Well, Jenny, for the ScanNCut, they've got the two versions, right? They've got the Disney version and they've got the ones that doesn't have the Disney on it. I particularly got the Disney one only because that's what was on sale. I like Disney, but I don't love it and need it, right? And you can also download it from other areas where you can get all of the images. But Mr. H found me a deal on that. And so I thought, you know, I'll take the Disney, you know, if it gets the Disney. Now, I have the... what is that? The 325 SDX. I think it's 325 if I recall. I forget all the numbers, right? They go just drive you nuts. But I believe that's the one I had. That was what was on sale. If you like to do the Disney and you want all the Disney images, you can certainly pay for that. The 280.
No, 230.
230. Sorry, it's the 230. Yeah. It's the 230 is what I had. What's going on now? Mr. H is like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's
What's going on?
$13 now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so when I got the ScanNCut,
We paid $390.
we paid, yeah, about $390 for the ScanNCut. And the price right now, he's looking it up. It's $513 now. So, wow. Prices have really shot up. So I would recommend that you hold off and wait for Black Friday to get your ScanNCut, because you'll find a deal for sure on them. They always go on sale. Then whether or not you get the Disney, that's up to you. And are you going to use them? Do you use the Disney ones? If not, just go with the regular, because you can get the Disney items and download them as you need them. But I think they're great. The ScanNCuts are great, and you know, there's so many that you can do. Now, if you want to do the applique, and I would suggest you would not get the very basic one, because that's limited on some things that you can do. So the 230, is it? 230,
What we got?
yeah.
230 DI.
230 SDX 230 DI,
Yeah.
which is not the latest, but it has everything that you would need to do appliques and all kinds of other pieces. The other ones prior to that are great machines, but there's some things that they don't do. So you'll want to be careful with that. Like my machine does use the large mat, and I can scan with the large mat. The other machines may not. So you got to kind of look at the features, pay attention to the features when you do the comparison. If you go to their website, they have a comparison chart that you can do. And depending on what features you're interested in, you can compare the different ones and then kind of just see which one kind of falls better for you. Heather got a secondhand SDX 85 at a great price. Yeah, cuts fabric beautifully, no regrets. The only issue I have with those is that you can't use that larger mat. And for me, that's an issue because I need to be able to use the larger mat. So that's why I had to go up one. But again, the one that I got was on sale, but I would hold off on waiting for Black Friday at this point because the prices are really high now. So just wait for them to come out. Let's see. Some people are saying they love their SDX 335. Some got the CM 350. Yeah, 325, SDX 325. That's one of the more popular ones. Are pricey though. They are pricey. Oh, Sandy said, yes, Hobby Lobby is open today. Oh, great. Great sales at 30% off fabric. Oh, yes. Definitely. I may just interrupt my day just a little bit. Thank you for that. We'll wait for Mr. H to take a nap.
Thanks.
Mr. H says, thanks, Sandy. Okay. Yeah, Celia says you need to get the model number 225 or greater for the ScanNCut. Yeah, I agree. There's just a lot of features, and it really depends what you're going to use it for. If you're using it to cut fabric or you're using it for paper products, you know, a lot of it is, you know, what features do you want to use? But I totally agree with Celia. You know, 225 or greater would probably be better. Heather says I can cut the larger mat, just not scan. Yeah, you can't scan it. Yeah, oh, you're a Cricut user. Okay, so you've got good placement. Okay, so that works for you, definitely. Yeah, but for me, I have the big, and I think I have it behind me here. I can pull it out probably. Yeah, if you want to use this really big scanning mat, then you need to have 225 or greater on those machines. I use it a lot. A lot of the applique pieces that I have, they're greater than the standard 8.5 by 11, or even the other mat is 12 by 12, right? So if it can't fit in that mat, you're not going to be able to scan it unless you have this mat here that is able to do the scan for a larger piece of applique. So that's why for me, this is a must. I really need this one because I do have a lot of applique pieces that are bigger than that 12 by 12 inch size. And of course, now I can't stick it back. We'll leave it there for right now. But so that's why I would recommend, if you're doing a lot of the applique that are large pieces, then you're going to want the larger mat so you can scan it in. But like Heather said, she has her Cricut. It doesn't bother her. So it really just depends what projects are you going to be using it for. So I hope that helps. So just let me know if you need some more information. Just email me, or you know how to contact me. So I'll help you out there. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, people are still kind of crawling in here, waking up this morning, huh? Okay. So let's see here. Any other questions that I found? Oh, yeah. My sister says Hobby Lobby used to offer 40% off fabrics. Yeah, well, now it's only 30%, but that's okay. I mean, we're kind of limited on where we can buy our fabrics, at least down here. We just have Hobby Lobby, and, you know, it's really pretty much Hobby Lobby. Michael's has that section, but honestly, I've gone there a few times hoping it was going to get better. And every time I go into Michael's, I just see the one aisle or half of an aisle of just licensed fabrics. It's not really like, they have a couple of solid colors, but it's mostly things that have like license, like football and things like that. And it's really not. It was pretty disappointing for me for the Michaels. So Hobby Lobby's just about it for me unless I go online and purchase elsewhere. So I've got to change my ways because I don't have the Joann's where I can go and just kind of feel the fabric and pick up anything I want. Can't believe how spoiled we were, right? I'm going to grab another swivel here. Okay, so we've talked about the different fabrics that you can use and how you can change this up. That will be our next project that we're going to be working on. I will try to see if we can start off this week. I do want to finish up this Spooky and Sweet, which I'm hoping to do today. We've already finished with our Autumn Skies, which I just showed you. So we're good on that. And we're just going to keep moving right along. I will find in between to kind of put things in, things that are on Embrilliance, things that are on EQ8. I'm going to just do little things here and there, just things that as I find out that I think are pretty cool, I'll share those tips with you guys as well. So that will be fun to do. Alrighty, so let's see. Let's see. Oh, Jenny won something. She won her second, your second ScanNCut. Wow. Jenny, you're just a lucky little girl. Awesome. Okay, so let's get to cutting here because I do have still a few things to cut. And like I said, today's going to be just, you know, really slow. We're just going to take it easy and, you know, look at some things that we have to cut. So I'm going to grab my cutting instructions for week 3, which is the Vampire Ghost block. I've already cut quite a few of the larger fabrics like the Zen Gray and the Off-White. I've done a lot of these cuts already, so I'm down to the last few, and they're smaller pieces here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut those and kind of just chit-chat with you guys. Now that the Autumn Skies is done, what is your verdict? Traditional piecing or paper piecing? Heather, I have to tell you that paper piecing is a lot easier, I thought. Only because you don't have to pay so much attention to the details that you do when you are doing your regular piecing. Paper piecing really just kind of does it for you. And as long as you have the right products to do the paper piecing properly, like the add a quarter ruler, I think the paper piecing is just a lot easier and more beginner friendly than your traditional. Because when you're looking at your traditional and you're looking at what you have to accomplish when you are piecing, there's a lot of things that you got to look at. And some of the stuff we talked about along the way, right? You need to make sure your 1/4 inch seam is on, right? You need to make sure that when you're sewing, your hand placement and getting your stitch and flips correctly. So for stitch and flips, we used the corner ruler, right? But you can do drawing the diagonal line. Like there's a lot of pieces or steps in between that you can make a mistake on. So maybe your diagonal line wasn't really corner to corner. Maybe it was off a little bit, or maybe your cut was off a little bit, or, you know, there's a lot of room for error on the piecing side of it, where the paper piecing is easier because you've got the lines that you are sewing right on top of. So it guides you a little bit easier. Let's see. Heather says the act of pulling papers is better than the stress of aligning to me. Love paper piecing. Yeah. Yeah, I can tell you the paper piecing, in my opinion, is a lot easier to do. It really gives you that finished block. And I'll just kind of show you. Let me grab, I think I still have it in here. I still have some woven stars to go here. Here's the actual paper piecing. If you guys have never seen, let me see if I have some woven stars I can pull out. Let me just pull those out. And I'll do a quick comparison for you. So, paper piecing, you're pulling out the paper, and in this particular one, you know, the pad of paper, you do have to cut them. Simple cut right on the line, right? Everything is kind of drawn out for you. There's really not too much thinking involved, and you have some room for error when you are lining up the star itself, but it really gives you a lot more opportunity to be successful because of the design itself and the way this is placed. So when you're doing this, you're just placing the fabrics right on the paper, and you are sewing on the lines, right? So you are sewing right on the line. So your line is drawn out for you, and all you have to do is follow that line as you're sewing. Now, once you've gotten all 4 pieces and you start to put it together to form this block, in order to get all the little points exactly where you need them, they also help you out with that, because you've got these little dots on each of the points, and that allows you to line up point to point on each section right here. Okay, and then if you do that and you follow the way we did it with the pins, you're always going to hit that mark. So it makes making the woven star so much easier, and it allows you to really get a great result every time, because it's just so much simpler to follow, and it really helps you out as a beginner and gives you that really satisfying feeling of making that perfect block and coming out exactly the way you want it. So this to me is a whole lot easier than piecing itself, because all of the cutting and that is involved in terms of the piecing, this gives you a lot more room for error to make mistakes on your cutting. This one, not so much, because you're just placing the fabric behind it, and all of that cutting and all of those pieces that you have to do kind of disappear, because you're just following the pattern and sewing on that line. And then with your add a quarter ruler, you're just cutting, you're discarding the extra pieces. So if you turn this around, you can see in any one of these, it's very easy. And I'll show you like one that doesn't have so much thread. Here's this one's good. All the thread is cut. You can see here, look at the cuts on there. Very easy. Using that outer quarter ruler, you're always going to get that 1/4 inch seam, and so it's clean. It makes it very easy and clean. And if I flip this over, you're always going to get that perfect little star, right? And so the only difficulty I found would be for a beginner, if you're doing paper piecing, is lining up the star when you have your 4 portions and you're bringing that star together. But as long as you do the method with the pins on those big dots, you'll get it every single time. And I think that it comes out beautiful every time. So it was less frustrating to do the paper piecing than it was to do the regular piecing. But this does help you to get into the practice for other complicated quilts that are out there. You do have to be mindful of your cutting, be mindful of your sewing. There are, of course, tools that you can use for your stitch and flips, right? We've talked about those, but then you're also lining it up in the end and making sure that you're hitting all of your marks. So A lot more complex when you're just doing piecing than if you're doing paper piecing. I found paper piecing to be a lot easier, especially if you're one that's really distracted all the time, getting interrupted, things like that, having to start and finish later. Then I really would recommend the paper piecing because it really does help in terms of all that interruption that one gets. But if you're really focused and you want to really improve your skill set on the piecing, then I would give this one a try. It's just you really need to focus and watch your cuts, measure after every cut, and then just go slowly through the process. And it's a nice satisfying feeling when you're doing these. These were definitely a lot of fun too, though. And then some people don't like taking out the papers at the end, right? They don't like having to deal with papers. There's other methods you can use with freezer paper. So you could reuse the templates. That's another try that you can have at that. But there's other things that you can do that help out with that. So that's just, you know, my opinion on the Woven Star. Little slight different, but more or less the same. And it's paper piecing versus regular piecing. So yeah, hands down, regular piecing requires a lot more skill set and a lot more focused than the paper piecing. But paper piecing is really a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed doing that one a lot. Okay, any other questions here? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. I think we're good. Oh, do we have another one? Oh, I think we had another question. I may have missed it. I think Mr. H is going to try to pull it up there. Yeah, Rosalind asked, can you reuse the paper? If you do the freezer paper method, yes, you can reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. If you do just this paper pad, then these you cannot reuse. You have to tear them off. Okay, how am I going to quilt my table runner? Barbara's asking. Haven't really decided on a design yet. Or if I'm just going to free motion and maybe do like a stipple around it. I haven't really decided that yet, but I do know that I don't want the thread to kind of show. So I know that the thread that I'm going to be using is not going, I don't want it to show too much in the front. So I'm going to try to use something very compatible. Maybe not quilts over the stars themselves and just go around them. So I'm still not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but most likely a stipple. I can use an edge-to-edge design to do that, but it's going to require the embroidery machine to do that, and I'm trying not to use it because I really want to finish up that little Merry Christmas one. So the embroidery machine is going to be busy doing that. So I may just do some free motion quilting just on my machine here. Something like a stipple, or maybe using one of my templates, but I may just do the stipple just to keep it easy. Okay, let's see. Yeah, crafting on a dime with Shay Shay is saying paper piecing and buying the pattern becomes expensive. It does. It does, but one of the things you can do is you can get freezer paper and download a design that you want, and then you can just print it with your printer on the freezer paper, and that allows you to kind of reuse them, so you don't have to keep buying, you know, the paper pads and things like that. Yeah, Heather says she prints it on newspaper paper. Yep, that's pretty expensive. That's another way. As long as it is paper that easily tears, right? You don't want to use a thick cardboard paper because you're not going to be able to then tear it off. So one of the tips in terms of the tearing of the paper, newspaper paper is perfect for that. It's easily tears. one of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing is when you are sewing it, make sure that your stitch length is very, very short. 1.4, 1.5. I wouldn't go any greater than that. I try to keep it down to the lowest that you can so that your needle is piercing the paper very quickly and it has a really perforated type of stitch so that you can just tear the paper off, whether you use the newspaper or, you know, whatever paper you decide to use. Just stay away from very thick cardstock type paper. That's not going to work for paper piecing. It has to be a very thin paper. If you use the freezer paper, it's great because those you can reuse over and over again and you don't have to keep buying the paper. But yeah, it can get quite pricey. You're correct on that one. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? So Cindy asked about the freezer. Can you run freezer paper in a printer if it cut to the standard size of copy paper? No, Cindy. You can't because of the you can because of the ink, but not on a regular printer, right? You've got to use that.
Desktop, no.
What was that?
Inkjet, no.
Yeah.
Laser, yes, but it'll cause a problem. And trust me, I know.
Okay, Mr. H is kind of like, hold, it's an IT thing going on here. So he wants me to let you know, what was that again?
Inkjet, no.
Yeah, inkjet is a no-no. You are not printing on inkjet.
Laser?
The ink will smudge away.
Laser can, but
laser you can,
well, you take a risk.
but you are taking a risk
Because
of,
if it goes around the drum, that's a problem.
yeah, so, oh boy. So we've got some technical stuff. So if it goes around the drum, he's telling me to let you guys know, if it goes around the drum, you're going to have a problem with that. So not the best thing to do if you don't want to damage your printer. So stay away from that one. Boy, Mr. H jumped on that one.
No, haven't seen it.
I guess it happened to him, you saying. So yeah,
Don't ask
okay.
me, I know.
Okay, yeah, he's saying don't ask him how he knows. So yeah, you want to stay away from that one for sure. Okay, yes, save your printers, guys. Alrighty, yeah, he jumps all over that technical stuff, won't even let me answer, right? Alrighty, so yeah, save yourself on that one, guys. Okay, let's see who else. Sandy says, I have a friend who uses Dollar Tree tissue paper for paper piecing. I think that works good. Tissue paper is a great one because that one does tear very easily. So definitely if that works for her, perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of low-cost options that you can find. You just kind of have to really look for it. Yeah, but, you know, definitely stay away from those thicker pieces of paper. That will not work. You know, it may feel great as you are sewing on it because it's nice and stable, but when you go to tear that off, it's going to rip your stitches right along with it. So stay away from that heavy cardstock. Heavy paper is not going to work for paper piecing. Okay. Alrighty, let's see. Anything else we've got here? Marina says, check the Hobby Lobby weekly ad before going. She's not seeing the 30% off fabric. If it's on sale, I'm definitely going. Yeah, you can always go online too to see if they have it and just, you know, go to your local shop because maybe it is in some areas and it's not in others. So just check before you go. So definitely do that. And let's see, I think that's all we've got here. Mr. H is sharing some of the links for the EQ8, getting really into that one. There's a lot that little software can do, not just helping you to create your quilts, but it also has the ability to make quilts with preset templates that are in there. So a lot of the standard quilt templates that you see that it uses they are already preset into the machine, and then you can use those to make your quilt. So that's pretty cool. But there's so many other things that it does. You know, you can use fabrics from the software, like if you know you're going to use, I don't know, Moda fabrics, or if you're going to know that there's certain designers that you like to use for your quilts, some of them are preset in there. Otherwise, you can take pictures of the fabric that you have on hand and put them into the software, and you can play around with it, and you'll know exactly what your quilt's going to look like before you even cut a square. And another thing is just in doing that and in helping you design everything, it also will let you know, okay, to do whatever size quilt you want, because you can do all different sizes. It'll tell you you need to cut this many yards of fabric of each color, and it'll lay everything out for you, just as if you would have purchased a pattern. So that's really neat. So if you have this and you create your own pattern and you want to share it with others, you have the ability to do so, because it'll tell everyone what the fabric requirements are, how much you would need to cut, and there's so much more that the software does. So it's really, really great. So check that out if you can. Alrighty, so that's about where I am right now. And I'm just, again, I'm going to be cutting away for the rest of the spooky and sweet, and just kind of settle in my craft room. May just do a little trip to Hobby Lobby, not sure yet. We'll see what happens here, and I'm gonna just be cutting and stitching away. So I hope that you guys are having a fantastic day on your Labor Day holiday, and maybe you get some stitching in. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I really enjoyed, you know, talking with you guys and just having this really subtle little session here of just, you know, stitching, chit chat, and stuff to do. So thanks again for all of your support, everyone. I will see you again tomorrow. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.